friends, in this video I am going to teach you how to work with the advanced Google Map marker, because the earlier marker that Google used to provide is deprecated now and they have launched a new advanced version of it, so that is called advanced marker. We are going to check that how to work with that into our Ionic application or with an Angular application using the Javascript Maps API. So let's get started with that. Now, at first you need to create a new project. This is the command you need to run for creating a new project. Ionic start, then the project name, then what kind of project you want, blank project or any other tabs type. Then the type, I have selected Angular and I'm using a standalone project. That is why that's just standalone. If you don't want to use the standalone one, you can pass no standalone or you can select their ng modules or standalone. Let's get moving with that. Now my home page is cleaned up. Everything is clean. The CSS is clean. Now we will integrate our maps one. For integrating the map, you need a Google Maps API key, which I have already told in my previous videos how to get that. If you do not know how to get that, link is shared in the card one. You can just click on the I button and you will be redirected to that particular video. Now, so I'm not going to teach you that, and in the index.html file, we are going to directly integrate that into our script. So this is the URL that you need to pass. So maps.googleapis.com/maps/API. Then your API key, you need to pass it here, the Google Maps API key that you get. And after getting that, you simply need to pass the libraries. In the library, marker is must, because in the latest version, you need to pass the marker in this particular way. And if you want to use any other libraries, you can simply pass comma, and like places you want to use, you can simply pass it in that particular manner. After that, the language I have passed, and then a callback is being passed in such a way that it won't give you any errors or any warnings actually. After that, the final thing is the loading async. So asynchronous loading is very much important, otherwise you will get a warning that this needs to be enabled to show the map. After doing this, you are good to go with the setup of your Maps API into your application. Now you can simply use it in the wherever you want in your application. But I'm going to start off with a component for the map one to show the map at first. For that, I will go here and create a component. So Ionic G for generate. I'm going to create a component, C for component, and then the location will be within the home page. I will create a component called map in this particular way. This is created now, which you can just see here, right? Once we get that done, I just need to simply replace it with a div where we are going to show our map. So this will be a div in which I'm going to pass a class and an identifier called map. Now this identifier, I'm going to use it in TypeScript, and this class we are going to use for designing our map. How much should be the height and everything, any transition we want. So all that things we are going to do in the SCSS part. Like the one I'm going to show you right now is this particular designing part where I have given position to be absolute, height and width of 100% so that it can take the full height and width. You can remove the position absolute if you don't want it to be passed. Still it's gonna work. Background color transparent I have given, and opacity of 0 and a transition of 150 milliseconds easing so that it smoothly transit from opacity 0 to opacity 1. Why? Because I'll be giving a condition that it will only show up when we get the marker and everything into our application. Then only it's going to show. So that is why this particular class is being used. So this visible class, we are going to use it later on. I'm going to show you that. You don't need to worry about it. Just think in that way. And if you don't want this opacity to be 0 at the very beginning, you can simply pass it here opacity 1 and you're good to go. Simply remove this one. That's it. But I'm going to keep it and I'm going to show you how it actually works. And this map position absolute, I'm going to pass it up because there were some reasons earlier why I used it. But right now without that also it will still work pretty fine. But still I want to keep the same stuff only. Alright, after doing that, in the map.component.ts file, what am I going to do? Let's me show you. At first, I'm going to declare where Google to use the Google Maps. I'm going to declare it up. Now I can use google.maps anywhere I want. So I'm going to start off with a view child for the identifier that we have already passed to our div in the map.component.html file. This is the one, right? So this is the identifier that I have passed, and because of that only this view child is going to work pretty nicely for us. Now import the things which are needed. After doing that, What's the next step? What all things I need? So I'll be needing some variables here. First of all, the center, any location in Delhi, I have just passed it, the latitude and longitude. You can simply change it as per your requirement. Then a Google Maps one, so that we can use in different functions directly without having to pass Google.maps everywhere. If you don't want it, you can simply skip that too. And then map, we will be keeping our map in a global variable here. That is why the marker also same, the global variable one. Then map listener and marker listener, we are going to use two listeners here. That is why these listeners will come into play. And this intersection observer, I'm going to explain later on, because this is very interesting to work with. Now I'm going to start off with a function here called load map, which will help us to load our map into this project. Now within this particular function, I'm going to use maps, google.maps.import library. Within that, I have to pass maps in order to call the map here. Okay, this is how it needs to be done with the latest Google advanced marker. Now few things I'm going to show you. Let me enlarge it. These are some of the links for the advanced Google Maps marker. So this is how you can use it, advanced markers, and google.maps.marker.advanced marker element. That is what we have to use here. This is the class within which we have lots of properties. These are the properties which we can pass directly into our advanced map marker. So yeah, these are the methods and these are the events that we can use. So a lot of things available, which is available in the documentation properly. You can simply check it out, and you can simply search on the internet regarding advanced markers of Google Map. You will get these links there. This is the documentation, official documentation of Google, where I am already watching it. And yeah, what's the next one? Now, how to add an advanced marker? This is a documentation for that using the Maps JavaScript API for web. So this is how for TypeScript you need to do. That's what we have done so far for the maps one, and we are going to implement this one too, but I'm going to show you a little bit more about it. For the CSS, you can play around with this stuff, and for the HTML, well, you can just simply look at it, how to pass the key. They have done it in a different way, but I am using directly the URL. That's going to work pretty fine. So you don't need to worry about it. And you can look into the customization part also. There is customization advanced markers that are available. You can have multiple markers. Even the colliding also, you can simply track it down because there is a property called, which one was it? Collisional behavior. So if there is any collision, then also you might do something regarding that. We are not going to track that out, but yes, that is an option which you can explore more. I'm just going to show you how exactly it works, and also what is the problem in the earlier one, how we get the warning. So this is how it can be used. You can simply check it, and this is what animate markers using CSS. If you want to animate just like the drop animation, you have to use this particular stuff here. That's where this intersection observer comes into play. We are going to work with that also. So I'm not going to go in depth of it, how to do that, because we are going to implement that part. Okay, so I have shown you the little brief about what are advanced markers. Let's implement that up into our application. I'll get back, and this time I'm going to call my native element, which is the map element ref, that will indicate to our div. That's what I'm going to have here. And after that, I need the location also, but in the form of latitude and longitude. So I'll get the lat long in this particular way by passing the center, latitude and longitude in this way. All right, so this is prepared because this location I need to pass. The next thing is very, very important, where we are going to initialize our map. This is how we do that. So I'm storing it in a global variable called map here, where I'm initializing the map with this particular native element, and I'm passing the center location. Zoom I have passed as 14. You can change it as per your requirement. And the most important thing is, which you need to pass, otherwise this is not going to work, the map is not going to work, is this map ID. If you don't pass the map ID, the map won't show up, which is very important. And this should be any kind of a code that you can simply pass. You don't need to pass anything which is like already available or something, or just pass something, okay? Then it's going to work. You can just try something with that as per your requirement. These are some of the fields. If you can simply pass it up if you want to, but I don't want to use anything. I just want to show all the features that are available. So I'm just commenting all this, keeping for you so that you can try it out. Once our map is ready, we need to render this map. So for rendering, what I need to do, I need to inject something here. Let me just do that. Let me inject. In this particular way, I'm going to do that. You can pass it in the constructor also, private renderer colon. in the renderer too, but I'm going to use the inject function to implement that up. That's gonna be easier and almost the same part, but yeah, I prefer the latest version that is being produced by the Ionic team for using the inject one. I'm thinking of using that in a long run. That is why I'm doing so. After that is done, we can simply use it here. Now in the render, what exactly I'm going to do? I'm going to render to add the class called visible. Remember visible class that we passed in our map.scss to make the opacity 1. So as soon as the map is ready, we are going to make the opacity 1 so that it can be seen on the screen. Right now you cannot see anything on the screen because we haven't used it in our homepage HTML file. So it's time to use that up. Since I'm using the standalone project, so I need to pass it in my component.ts file in the imports one, the map component to use it. Alright, once that is done, we will be able to use it after I make it the standalone one. Because in the map.component.ts file, this is not standalone as of now, I think. Yes. So I need to make it standalone. Only needed for standalone project, not for the ng modules project. There you can simply use a component or you can simply pass it in the declaration part of the homepage module.ts file and you are good to go. After that is done, what I need to do, I need to go to homepage HTML file, and here I can simply pass app map, that's the identifier or the selector for the map. Alright, once that is done, let me pass a class here where I'm going to pass let me call it map, and in the SCSS I'm going to access this map class where I'm going to pass height to be, let's say 100%, and even if I don't do that, I think still it's going to work. Let's try it. Okay, so I'll just comment it up. Now in the map.component.ts file, I just need to do one thing and we are good to go. So in the ng after view init, I'm going to call, because in the ng on init sometimes it doesn't work properly. So after view init is fine. I'm going to load the map in this particular way. Let's check it out. All right, I think it was showing and it got away. Let me pause this class now. Still it's not working. There we go. We just need to restart once. If it is not showing up, it's going to work properly. All right, I forgot to pass the original key also, that is why it was not working. So I just passed that in the index.html file. Now it's fine. In the home page CSS, if you don't pass this up, still I think it's going to work. Yes, it's going to work, but I think it would be better if you pass it to be on the safe side. If you want to reduce the height to a certain extent, then you can do that up. Let's try with 30%. So this is not working. Okay, so let me remove it and pass it here. The height to be, let's say, 50%, and there you go. So you have to change it from here, then only it's going to work properly, and I can remove the absolute one, so it's working fine. So yeah, I can keep it in this way. Let me make it 100% only. I want to show the full screen one here. Okay, so map is loaded properly. First part is nicely done. Let's move to the next part, which is for adding a marker. In order to add a marker, after this is loaded, I'm going to call a function called this dot add marker, where I'm going to pass the location. Let's create that function here in this manner and pass your location that we got by implementing this particular let long. Let me make it of type any for the time being. And here I'm going to pass the advanced marker element. Let me make it to get rid of the error. And this will be google.maps. Fine. That's how it's going to work. So this advanced marker element is responsible for having our marker. This is a library that is initiated. Now I will create a marker here in this particular way using this advanced marker element class, and I'm passing the map here along with the position and making the draggable to be true. GMP draggable needs to be passed to make it draggable. Okay, after doing that, you see a marker, red color marker here. This is how the marker is coming up. So we have implemented the second part, which is showing the marker. Now I'm going to show you the problem actually that we were facing with the earlier marker. So in order to show you that marker, the earlier marker, let me comment this particular code here, and I'm going to implement the earlier marker here. So this is how we used it earlier. Google.maps.marker, where I'll pass the location, map, draggable to true, and an animation also directly we can pass the drop animation. So you've already seen, let me reload it, just check it out. It's pretty working fine, right? So yeah, but here we get a warning. What is the warning? As of February 21st, 2024, this marker is deprecated. So please use Google's advanced marker element. That is why I'm using the second one. So this was the earlier one, and we are now using this particular one here. Okay, hope you are getting it. So the third step is also done. I have shown you how to use the earlier marker and what was the problem with that. Let's move on to the fourth step, which is making our marker customizable. So in the customize section, how we are actually going to implement it. We have an option to pass pin element within this particular one, which is another class, which you will simply check it here. There is an option of pin element in the documentation. You just scroll down. This is the one, pin element class. So it represents a DOM element consisting of a shape and a clip. So you can work around with that. There are a lot of options that are available. Within that, you can pass the background, border color, and the glyph element. You can pass HTML element. You can pass there, and the scaling also you can play around with that. So let me just show you an example of it, how to implement that up. Let me create constant here, which will initialize our pin element class, where I'm passing the background green color background, scale of 2, means twice as the size, and all colors almost green. Then to pass it here, I'm going to use content property, in which I'm going to pass marker pin dot element. All right. Once I do that up, let's check it out here. You can see this is getting bigger and the color is changed, so you can play around with it. Now let's say you don't want to pass this coloring or any other stuff, you want to pass some custom images instead of that. Well, you can do that too. So in this particular one, you need to comment this up, and if you don't want to use this element one, you can simply skip that up. I'll just skip it and make a copy of it so that I can comment the other one for you. Hope it's clear now. If you want to use pin element, you can simply uncomment this. Otherwise, this is fine. This one also I'll keep in a commented manner. And next, you can simply use another content, but I need to create one using the HTML element. I'm going to create that. So in order to create that up, I will use another constant called marker icon, which will be equals to document.create element. I'll be creating an image element here, in which I'm going to pass the source to be of a PNG image that I already have in my assets one. In the icons, this is the one which I'm going to use. So what I need to do here is I'm passing the height and width of this particular one, so you can play around with that, like the way we do for a particular image with the CSS part. So after doing that, you need to pass here content once again, colon, then the marker icon, you need to pass it here, and you will be able to see this particular icon. If you want to increase the size of it, you can change the height and width, and you will be able to see a bigger size. That's how it is working. All right. So I have shown you how to pass the marker along with the customization, whether it is the color one, HTML element, or by passing an image too. So this all things you can play around with. But this is not it. The next step which we are going to work with is very interesting, because I'm going to show you how to make this particular marker draggable, and also if you click somewhere else, say like if you click here, the marker will go there and it will come to the center. So you get the proper location of that. That's what we're going to implement right now. Let's see how it can be done. Now I'm going to implement two listeners here. One is for the map listener and one is for the marker listener. Let me just paste the code quickly. I'm going to explain you right now. Let me enlarge it. First of all, the marker listener will be called where this dot marker, this is the marker that we are using, dot add listener. There is a function called add listener there. You can simply check it in the documentation also if you want to, and you will get it there where it is. Now this is the one, this is the add listener one, which you can simply apply, or there is an add event listener also. But yeah, this is the one which I'm going to use into our application. So let's try that out. Let's get back, and here I have implemented the same. I'm using the drag and event, and you can just check the events also, which you can simply pass in the document, and it's already given. Just check it out. The click event is there, the drag event is there, some other are. So whatever the event will get triggered, I can simply use it. I have logged the latitude and longitude. You can get it in this particular way. Event.letLong you are going to get. Within that, the let function will give you the latitude and lng function will give you the longitude. If you want the marker to be removed on click of on the marker, you can simply pass this marker.map will be equals to null, so that it will be removed on click of it. So if I click on the marker, it will be removed. That is the code for that. If you want to use it, just pass it in the comment way. Now, I don't want to do that. I want to change the position of the marker, and along with that, I want to move the map to that particular location. That is what I have done. So marker.position I have set to the latest location that we get out of it by dragging it, and marker.map will be initialized to this particular map. And then finally map.pan will redirect you to that particular location, will center it up. Then there is a map listener also, where I'm going to listen to the click event here, map.addListener. And in the click listener, whenever anywhere you click on the map, the marker will go there, and for doing so I'm going to change the marker position once again and set the marker in the map, which will be equal to this dot map, and move the map to that particular location, making it a center of it. Now how it needs to be done, let's check it out. If you want to, I've already logged the value of latitude. Let me open this particular one so that you can see what the value is coming up. Let's try it now. So let me drag it to Kashmiri Gate. So in the Kashmiri Gate, you can see the map is moved to the center and we are getting the latitude here. All right, so it is changed. Again, if I click on this Usmanpur, let me click here. Look at this, the map is moved and the marker is also moved. So this is how it is working. If I tend to remove some of the code, let's say if I remove this particular one, if you think so, let's try it now, whether it works or not. So I'm going to just drag it and still it's working. Okay, just check it out. So without marker.map, you can still work with that. So this code is not required. You can skip that part. So that is how we are working, and this step is also completed. We have made the map trackable and map clickable, and sorry, the marker draggable. Not the map. Map is also draggable, but it's not going to work or give us any benefit right now. All right, so you can in fact work with that also. If the marker is dragged, you will center up the position. That's what you can do. But I'm not going to play around with that. So this is the stuff which I have implemented so far. Only one thing is left, which is making this marker having some animation like the drop animations that we saw in the earlier marker when I implemented it. So in order to do that, there are certain steps which you need to follow, and that's where intersection observer comes into play. So let's implement that up now. In order to implement that up, I need to go to ng after view init, and here I need to initialize this intersection observer, which will be equals to new intersection observer, where I'm going to get a lot of entries. So if you have multiple markers, lots of markers, you will get lots of entries, and everything will be passed here. That's how it's going to work. And intersection observer dot unobserved at the very end is going to unobserve that. So that is what it's being done. And this particular drop class is very much important to be added. We are going to see it, or we are going to pass it in our global.scss, where I need to pass the styling. Now styling part, you can get it from here in the documentation. It's been passed. Where was it? This is the one, I think, animation one. So for the animation part, I need to do CSS, and this is what you need to work around. All right, this is the stuff which you need to copy. Let me copy the whole thing here. Okay, up till here, and this delay time I'm going to pass 0.5 seconds as it is given here. I don't want to make it dynamic. If you want, you can make it dynamic also by passing this up in the root, and in the TypeScript you can call, where was it, right here. So you can set the property for the delay time in this particular way, but I'm not going to do that. So let's get back, and here let me pass it and make it, instead of this one, 0.5 second. Fine. All right, I think everything is good to go now. The class is ready. It's time to implement that up in our map page ts file. So the map component.ts file, we just need to do one more thing here and we are done with this particular one. So in the marker, when it is loaded up, when it is created, after that I need to play around with this content part. So how am I going to get that? I'm going to create a constant called content, which will be equals to this dot marker dot content. I'm going to get that content, and then I'm going to make the opacity of for the styling one to be 0 until unless the drop is being passed. Otherwise, it's going to still show up the icon, or so not the icon, the marker, which I don't want. So as soon as the animation ends, so it's going to remove it and make the opacity to be 1. All right. Till then, that particular intersection observer will come into play and work around with it. So this is a constant. We don't need to like remove it. at the very end. So I will keep it in this particular way. So this is the code for animation part. Fine, let's check it out whether it works or not. There we go. If you haven't seen properly, let me refresh it once again, and you see the drop event or the drop animation working nicely in our application. We have implemented the animation part also. I hope you have understood it, and there is a slight easier version for that also. If you want to, I will just paste the code. If you don't want to use the intersection observer, you can use set timeout, but I don't know how efficient it is. This is how you can implement the set timeout functionality, and it will give you the same exposure as it was earlier for the intersection observer. But I think intersection observer is given by Google team, so I think you should follow that part. Okay, for the animation purpose, they have done the same part only in this particular way. So I just followed them. That's it. After this is done, one more thing is left, then we are done with this video. So the last thing that we need to do is destroy our listeners, which is very, very important. So in order to destroy, I will use on destroy here, import it, right? Now I need to use the ng on destroy functionality at the very end here. Let's do that, ng on destroy. And within this functionality, I'm going to listen to this particular map marker and map listener and marker listener, and remove the listener from their particular ones from the Google. Okay, this not, I want to implement google.maps.event, not this particular variable. I'm going to remove that variable that is not in use anymore. So let me just remove it. I don't want to use that. Anything else not in use? I think everything else is in use, so I'll just keep that. And let's get down. Okay, so this will be removed in this particular way, and I'm making this map listener to be null here. Similarly, mark listener null, and removing the event listener here. That's what we have done. And there is a direct listener. Remove listener. No, remove event listener is only there. So you have to remove the particular event. You need to pass the event, what you want to remove, and the listener here. This is how you need to do. And we are finally done. So you have seen how to work with the latest advanced marker of Google Map, how to replace that and everything else, the animation part, the image part for the icon one, customization part basically. So all the things is accumulated in this particular video. I hope you like this. If you like, make sure you hit the like button, do subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, let me know what are your thoughts about this project. And thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'm going to see you next time.